Listen to me carefully. Success is not built in a day, it's built daily. Not someday. Not when you feel motivated, not when life is easy. Every single day, that's where greatness lives. You don't wake up great, you wake up with a choice. And that choice is simple. Are you going to make today count or let today count you out? Most people wait. They wait for motivation. They wait for opportunity. They wait for the perfect moment. But winners wake up ready. They don't need perfect conditions. They don't need applause. They don't need permission. They bring intensity to ordinary days because they understand a powerful truth. Your future is hidden inside your daily routine. Every single day mentality means you attack Monday like it's championship day. You treat Tuesday like it decides your destiny. You grind Wednesday like the world is watching. And when Friday comes, you don't slow down. Because average people celebrate weekends. Champions celebrate progress. You see, success is not about doing something big once. It's about doing something small consistently. Anyone can be great for one day. Anyone can hustle for one moment. But can you show up when nobody is clapping? Can you push when nobody is watching? Can you stay disciplined when you don't feel inspired? That's where legends are made. Not in crowds, but in solitude. Let me tell you something. Your excuses don't care about your dreams. Your fears don't care about your goals. And your comfort zone, it will destroy your potential if you let it. Every single day mentality means you refuse to negotiate with weakness. It means when your mind says a rest, your purpose says a work. When your body says a quit, your vision says a push. Greatness isn't comfortable. Growth isn't easy. Discipline isn't fun, but regret is painful. And one day you're going to wake up and realize you either built something or you wasted something. Time doesn't stop. The clock doesn't pause. Every sunrise is a fresh opportunity, but it's also a countdown. The question is, what are you doing with the hours you've been given? You don't need more talent. You need more consistency. You don't need more luck. You need more effort. You don't need more time. You need more focus. Because the difference between winners and wishers is simple. Winners execute daily. Wishers delay daily. Every single day mentality means you respect the process. You trust the grind. You honor the struggle. Because you know something others don't. Small daily wins create massive life victories. One page a day becomes a book. One workout a day becomes a transformation. One step a day becomes a journey completed. And let me remind you, nobody can do it for you. Nobody can wake up for you. Nobody can fight for your dreams for you. This is your race, your mission, your life. So if you want something different, you must do something different. You must do something different. Starting today. Starting now. Don't wait for motivation. Become it. Don't wait for opportunity. Create it. Don't wait for change. Initiate it. Because the people who win in life are not the most gifted. They're the most committed. So when you wake up tomorrow morning, don't just get up. Rise with purpose. Walk with urgency. Work with passion. And promise yourself one thing. Today will count. Because when you stack counted days, you build an unstoppable life. Motivation starts you, but routine sustains you. I need you to understand that at a level deeper than emotion, deeper than hype, deeper than a viral video or a powerful quote that gives you chills for 5 minutes and then fades when real life shows up. Because motivation is a spark, and sparks are beautiful. Sparks are exciting. Sparks light fires. But sparks don't keep fires burning. What keeps fires burning? Discipline keeps fires burning. Discipline keeps fires burning. And if all you ever depend on is motivation, you will live your life as a collection of unfinished fires that once burned bright but died fast. Motivation is emotional. Routine is structural. Motivation is loud. Routine is quiet. Motivation shouts. Routine whispers. Motivation makes you feel ready. Routine makes you be ready. And the reason most people never reach their goals is not because they don't get motivated. It's because they never build a system that keeps it moving when motivation leaves. And hear me clearly, motivation will leave. It always does. Nobody wakes up every single day feeling inspired, energized, and unstoppable. Even the strongest minds have mornings where they feel slow, tired, and doubtful. The difference is champions don't wait for motivation. They move anyway. You have to stop asking yourself, do I feel like it today? And start asking yourself, is this what I committed to? Because feelings are temporary, but commitment is binding. Feelings change with the weather. Commitment stands in storms. Feelings depend on mood. Commitment depends on mission. When you build your life on feelings, you become inconsistent. When you build your life on routine, you become unstoppable. Let me break something down for you. The first day you decide to chase a dream, you feel unstoppable. You wake up early, you plan, you work, you grind, you push, you sacrifice. You feel like nothing can stop you. That's motivation. That's the spark. But then day 2 comes, day 3 comes, day 7 comes, and suddenly it's not exciting anymore. Suddenly it's hard, suddenly it's repetitive, suddenly nobody is cheering, suddenly results are slow. Suddenly doubt creeps in. And that's where most people quit. Not because they can't continue, but because they don't feel like continuing. That's why routine removes the question. Routine removes the question. Routine eliminates negotiation. Routine doesn't ask for permission. When you build a routine, you don't wake up deciding whether you'll work. You wake up executing what you already decided. And that right there is the secret most people miss. Successful people don't make daily decisions about whether to be productive. They already decided long ago. Their routine makes the decision for them. You want to know why routine is stronger than motivation? Because routine works on your worst day. Motivation only works on your best day. Anybody can grind when they feel good. Anybody can hustle when they're inspired. Anybody can push when energy is high. But can you execute when you're tired? Can you focus when you're stressed? Can you show up when you're discouraged? That's not motivation. That's discipline. That's routine. That's the muscle that separates professionals from amateurs. Motivation is like a guest. Routine is like a resident. Motivation visits. Routine lives there. And if your success depends on a visitor, you'll always be waiting. But if your success depends on a resident, progress becomes automatic. That's why routines change lives. Because routines don't rely on emotion. They rely on emotion. They rely on decision. You say you want greatness. You say you want success. You say you want to change your life. But the real question is, what are you doing every day that proves it? Not once a week, not once a week, not once a month, every single day. Because greatness is not an event, it's a pattern. Success is not a performance, it's a habit. Transformation is not a moment. It's a routine repeated until it becomes identity. You don't become strong by lifting once. You don't become smart by studying once. You don't become great by trying once. You become great by repeating the right actions until they become part of who you are. Until discipline feels normal. Until effort feels natural. Until consistency feels automatic. That's when routine stops feeling like work and starts feeling like power. Listen, motivation is emotional fuel, but routine is mechanical fuel. Emotion runs out. Mechanics keep going. Think about a machine. A machine doesn't wake up and ask if it feels like working. It works because it's built to work. And that's what you must become. Someone who is built for consistency, someone who doesn't depend on mood, someone who doesn't depend on applause, someone who doesn't depend on perfect conditions, because life is not perfect condition. Life is interruptions. Life is obstacles. Life is unexpected storms. And if your progress depends on motivation, those storms will stop you. But if your progress depends on routine, those storms will strengthen you. Because routine gives you structure when life gives you chaos. There will be mornings you don't feel like waking up early. There will be nights you don't feel like studying. There will be moments you don't feel like training. There will be moments you don't feel like training. And those moments will define you. Not the moments when you feel strong, the moments when you feel weak. Because winners are not the people who always feel ready. Winners are the people who act even when they don't. You have to train yourself to move without emotion, to execute without hesitation, to act without waiting for inspiration. That's when you become dangerous to mediocrity. That's when you become unstoppable. Because now your progress is no longer dependent on how you feel. It's dependent on what you do, and what you do daily determines who you become permanently. Let me tell you something powerful. Motivation is the start button. Routine is the engine. Anybody can press start. Few people build engines, and the ones who build engines are the ones who go the distance. They're the ones who keep moving when the excitement fades. They're the ones who keep grinding when results are slow. They're the ones who keep pushing when nobody notices. And eventually, they're the ones who win. You cannot build a powerful life on temporary emotion. You must build it on permanent habits. You must design your days so that success becomes inevitable. Not because you hope for it, not because you wish for it, but because your routine is literally carrying you toward it step by step, action by action by action, repetition by repetition. And here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Routine is boring. It's repetitive. It's predictable. It's not glamorous. But that's exactly why it works. Because while everyone else is chasing excitement, you're building stability. While everyone else is chasing hype, you're building momentum. While everyone else is starting fast and quitting early, you're starting steady and finishing strong. You don't need more motivation. You need more structure. You don't need more hype. You need more habit. You don't need more inspiration. You need more implementation. Because inspiration without action is entertainment. But inspiration plus routine is transformation. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting to feel confident. Stop waiting to feel motivated. Start building systems that carry you when feelings disappear. Decide what time you wake up. Decide what time you work. Decide what time you learn. Decide what time you grow. And once you decide, protect that routine like your life depends on it, because it does. One day, if you stay consistent, something incredible will happen. The things that once felt hard will feel normal. The things that once felt impossible will feel manageable. The things that once required motivation will require nothing. And when that day comes, you'll realize you didn't become successful because you were always motivated. You became successful because you were always committed. So remember this for the rest of your life. Motivation may introduce you to your dream, but routine walks you there. Motivation may open the door, but routine keeps you inside. Motivation may light the match, but routine keeps the fire alive. And if you truly want to win, not once, not sometimes, but consistently, then build a routine so strong that even on your worst day, you still move forward. Because that is how greatness is built. Not in bursts, not in hype, not in emotion, but in daily discipline, relentless routine. Progress is built in private before it's praised in public. And that is the truth most people don't want to accept, because private work is silent, unseen, and often lonely. Everybody loves applause, but very few people love preparation. Everybody wants recognition, but almost nobody wants repetition. Everybody wants the spotlight, but they don't want the shadows where the real transformation happens. What you have to understand is that the world celebrates results, but results are born in isolation. Long before anyone claps for you, you have to clap for yourself. Long before anyone believes in you, you have to convince yourself. Long before anyone notices you, you have to build you. See, the crowd only shows up when the victory is visible. They don't see the mornings you woke up exhausted and still worked. They don't see the nights you stayed consistent when quitting would have been easier. They don't see the sacrifices, the discipline, the repetition, the failures, the corrections, the silent adjustments. All they see is the final product, the polished performance, the shining moment. And because they only see the outcome, they think success is instant. But you know better, or at least you must learn better if you want to become great. Private progress is the foundation of public success. What you do when nobody is watching determines what happens when everybody is watching. The stage does not make you. It reveals you. Pressure doesn't build character. It exposes it. So if you want to shine under lights, you must sharpen yourself in darkness. If you want to stand strong in front of crowds, you must discipline yourself when you stand alone. Because privacy is where real growth lives. Privacy is where truth shows up. Privacy is where excuses are confronted and weaknesses are forced to change. When you work in private, there is no applause to entertain you, no audience to impress, no validation to feed your ego. It's just you and your standard, just you and your commitment, just you, your decision about whether you truly want the dream you say you want. And that's why private work is powerful, because it strips away performance and exposes intention. Out in public, people can pretend. In private, pretend disappears. In private, effort is real or it's absent. In private, discipline exists, so it doesn't. In private, truth speaks loudly. The reason so many people never achieve greatness is because they fall in love with recognition instead of preparation. They chase attention instead of improvement. They want to be seen working more than they want to actually work. But attention doesn't build skill. Visibility doesn't build mastery. Noise doesn't build strength. Only repetition does. Only focus does. Only consistency does. And those things grow best when nobody's watching. Because when nobody's watching, you stop performing and you start becoming. You have to train yourself to respect the unseen hours. Respect the quiet mornings. Respect the lonely nights. Respect the lonely nights. Respect the days when it feels like nothing is happening. Because something is happening. Seeds are growing. Muscles are forming. Skills are sharpening. Mindsets are strengthening. Just because progress is invisible doesn't mean it's absent. Just because results haven't appeared doesn't mean growth hasn't started. Some of the most powerful transformations happen silently, slowly, patiently, beneath the surface where nobody can see them. Think about a building. Before anyone admires the architecture, the foundation must be laid underground. Nobody praises the foundation. Nobody photographs the foundation. Nobody applauds the foundation. But without it, the building collapses. Your private work is your foundation. It's what holds you steady when pressure comes. It's what keeps you grounded when success comes. It's what keeps you moving when doubt comes. If you skip the private phase, your public moment will be weak. If you rush the process, your results will be fragile. But if you commit to hidden growth, your visible success will be unshakable. You must learn to love the process that nobody celebrates. Learn to appreciate the grind that nobody notices. Learn to value the effort that nobody praises. Because the truth is, public applause is temporary, but private growth is permanent. Cheers fade. Skills remain. Attention, discipline stays. And if you build yourself the right way in private, you won't need constant praise in public. You'll carry confidence that doesn't depend on approval, strength that doesn't depend on recognition, and focus that doesn't depend on validation. There will be seasons when it feels like you're working hard and nothing is changing. Seasons when it feels like you're giving everything and nobody cares. Seasons when it feels like you're moving forward but nobody sees it. Those seasons are not punishments. They're preparation. They're training grounds. They're strengthening phases designed to build endurance inside you. Because if success came instantly, you wouldn't be ready for it. If recognition came immediately, you wouldn't be prepared to sustain it. Privacy protects you while you develop. Silence shields you while you sharpen. Hidden work shapes you before the world weighs you. You have to remind yourself daily that visibility is not the goal. Growth is. Fame is not the goal. Mastery is. Applause is not the goal. Excellence is. Because applause is controlled by other people, but excellence is controlled by you. And when you chase what you control instead of what you can't, you become powerful. When you chase improvement instead of attention, you become dangerous to mediocrity. When you chase discipline instead of validation, you become unstoppable. The strongest individuals are not the ones who perform best in front of crowds. They're the ones who prepare best when alone. Because preparation creates confidence, and confidence creates presence, and presence creates impact. When you put in the work privately, you don't have to pretend publicly. When you've practiced relentlessly, you don't have to fear pressure. When you've trained consistently, you don't have to doubt yourself. Private effort removes public anxiety. Hidden discipline produces visible dominance. Stop worrying about who notices you. Start focusing on who you're becoming. Stop asking who's watching. Start asking who you're improving into. Because the real competition is not the people around you. It's the person you were yesterday. And the only way to beat that person is through daily private progress. Quiet growth. Silent discipline, unseen consistency. There's a version of you that the world has never seen yet. A stronger you, a wiser you, a sharper you, a more disciplined you. That version isn't created on stages or platforms or spotlights. That version is created in early mornings, late nights, repeated practice, honest self-correction, and relentless commitment. That version is being built every time you choose effort over excuse, every time you choose growth over comfort, every time you choose discipline over distraction. And one day, after enough private victories, the public will see something different about you. They'll call it luck. They'll call it natural ability, but you'll know the truth. You'll know it was the unseen hours, the unnoticed effort, the uncelebrated consistency, the silent grind. They'll see a moment. You'll remember the journey. They'll see the performance. You'll remember the preparation. They'll see the spotlight. You'll remember the darkness where it all began. So don't rush your hidden season. Don't resent your quiet phase. Don't complain about your unseen work. Embrace it, protect it, commit to it, because that's where your real power is forming. That is where your real confidence is growing. That is where your real greatness is being built. And when your time finally comes to step into the light, you won't have to hope you're ready. You'll know you are, because you earned it in private long before the world ever praised you in public. The grind you avoid today becomes the regret you face tomorrow, and most people don't realize that regret is heavier than effort until it's too late to trade one for the other. Right now, in this moment, you have a choice that seems small, almost invisible, almost harmless. You can work or you can wait. You can push or you can postpone. You can act or you can excuse. Because the consequences don't show up instantly, you start believing the choice doesn't matter. But it does. It always does. Because life keeps records even when you don't. Time keeps score even when you're not watching. And every day you avoid the grind, you are silently scheduling an appointment with future regret. People think regret comes from failure. It doesn't. Failure can teach you, strengthen you, sharpen you. Regret comes from inaction, from chances not taken, from effort not given, from discipline not applied. Failure says, at least you tried. Regret says, oh, you could have tried. And those two voices feel completely different in your soul. One builds you, the other haunts you. One gives you wisdom, the other gives you what ifs. And nothing is heavier than a life filled with what ifs. Right now, the grind feels uncomfortable. It feels demanding. It feels repetitive. It feels exhausting. But that discomfort is temporary. Regret is permanent. The pain of discipline lasts hours. The pain of regret lasts years. The effort you avoid today doesn't disappear. It waits. It waits for you in the future, multiplied, heavier, more difficult, because work delayed is never work erased. It's work compounded. And when tomorrow arrives, you won't just face what you avoided today. You'll face today's avoidance plus tomorrow's responsibility. That's how pressure is created. That's how stress is built. That's how people wake up overwhelmed. Not because life is unfair, but because yesterday's discipline was missing. You have to understand something most people learn too late. Your future is watching you. The person you will become is quietly observing the decisions you make right now. That future version of you is either saying a thank you for pushing or begging or why didn't you try? You might not hear that voice yet, but one day you will. One day you'll look back at this exact season of your life and realize it was a turning point disguised as an ordinary day. And on that day, you won't care how hard the work felt. You'll only care whether you did it. The grind is not your enemy. The grind is your investment. It's your deposit into a life account that pays interest in confidence, strength, skill, and opportunity. Every repetition is a deposit. Every focused hour is a deposit. Every disciplined decision is a deposit. And just like a bank account, you cannot withdraw what you never deposited. People want success withdrawals with zero effort deposits. They want results without routine, growth without grind, achievement without sacrifice. But life doesn't work like that. Life pays according to participation. Life rewards according to repetition. Life gives back according to what you gave first. Avoiding the grind feels easy in the moment because comfort is seductive. Comfort whispers you deserve a break. Comfort says, "I'll start tomorrow." Comfort convinces you that delay is harmless. But comfort never tells you the full story. It never tells you that every delay weakens discipline. It never tells you that every excuse strengthens laziness. It never tells you that every postponed action trains your mind to accept less than your potential. Comfort is convincing because it speaks softly. Regret is powerful because it speaks loudly. And the voice you listen to today determines the voice you live with tomorrow. There are people right now living lives they never imagined, not because they lack talent, but because they lack urgency when it mattered. They thought they had time. They thought they could wait. They thought they could start later. Later became never, and never became regret. They look back wishing they had woken up earlier, started sooner, tried harder, believed stronger. Not wishing they had more talent, not wishing they had better luck, wishing they had used their days differently. That's what regret sounds like. It doesn't cry about ability. It cries about effort. You don't need perfect conditions to start grinding. You don't need perfect timing, perfect mood, or perfect clarity. The grind was never meant to be comfortable. It was meant to be transformative. Pressure creates strength. Resistance builds endurance. Repetition develops mastery. The very parts of the grind you want to avoid are the parts designed to grow you. The struggle you resist is the training you need. The challenge you fear is the doorway you must walk through. Because ease never built greatness. Comfort never built resilience. Convenience never built champions. Think about the power hidden in a single disciplined day. One day of focus can shift momentum. One day of effort can create progress. One day of commitment can restore confidence. Now, imagine stacking those days. One after another, no excuses, no avoidance, no delays. That's how extraordinary lives are built. Not in dramatic leaps, but in daily decisions. Not in giant moments, but in consistent movements. Every day you choose to grind, you move one step further from regret and one step closer to fulfillment. The truth is, most people don't fail because they can't succeed. They fail because they don't sustain. They start strong and stop early. They begin motivated and end distracted. They show up inspired and surprised and disappear discouraged. But success isn't built by those who start fast. It's built by those who continue when starting stops feeling exciting. The grind is proof of seriousness. It's evidence of commitment. It's the daily vote you cast for the person you want to become. You must train your mind to understand that avoiding effort is not relief, it's a loan. And regret is the interest. The more you delay, the more you owe. The longer you wait, the heavier it gets. Until one day the weight is so heavy you wonder how life became so difficult. Life didn't suddenly become difficult. It slowly became difficult through postponed discipline, through ignored responsibility, through avoided grind. Difficulty often isn't created in a moment. It's accumulated in small daily escapes from effort. But here's the empowering truth. The same principle works in your favor if you choose to grind. Just like regret accumulates, progress accumulates. Just like avoidance compounds, effort compounds. Just like delay builds pressure, discipline builds power. Every time you do what you say you would do, you strengthen trust in yourself. And self-trust is one of the most powerful forces a human being can possess. When you trust yourself, doubt loses its voice, fear loses its grip, hesitation loses its control. Because you know you don't just talk, you act. One day, years from now, you will meet your future life. It will either greet you with gratitude or confront you with disappointment. It will either say, you showed up for me, or ask, why didn't you? That moment is coming, whether you prepare for it or not. And what that moment feels like will be determined by what you do today. Not tomorrow, not someday, today. Because today is the workshop where tomorrow is built. Today is the training ground where destiny is shaped. Today is the opportunity most people waste and later wish they had protected. So when you feel the urge to avoid the grind, remember what you're really avoiding. You're not avoiding work. You're avoiding growth. You're avoiding strength. You're avoiding progress. And when you avoid those things long enough, you don't escape difficulty. You guarantee it. Because the price of discipline is always cheaper than the cost of regret. Always. No exception. No shortcuts. No loopholes. Stand up and face your work. Lean into your effort. Embrace your discipline. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. Not because you feel like it, but because your future deserves it. The grind you choose today becomes the pride you feel tomorrow. But the grind you avoid today becomes the regret you carry tomorrow. And once regret arrives, it doesn't leave quietly. It echoes. It reminds. It repeats. So act now, move now, so that when tomorrow comes, it greets you not with disappointment, but with respect. Success rewards repetition, not intention. And that is a principle most people misunderstand because they confuse desire with action. They believe that thinking about their dreams, talking about their goals, or imagining their future is enough. They wake up motivated, they make lists, they set intentions, but they never follow through. They intend to succeed, but they don't repeat the work required to actually achieve it. And here's the truth. Intention is worthless without repetition. Desire alone doesn't build skill. Vision alone doesn't build discipline. Motivation alone doesn't build results. Only repeated, consistent action creates success. See, every successful person in history understood this principle. They didn't just wish for greatness, they showed up every day and did the work. Michael Jordan didn't become a 6-time NBA champion because he imagined hitting jump shots. He became a champion because he shot thousands of jumpers over and over again. Serena Williams didn't dominate tennis because she dreamed about Grand Slam titles. She dominated because she practiced, trained, and pushed herself daily, year after year, match after match. Elon Musk didn't create Tesla or SpaceX because he intended to. He worked long hours, repeated calculations, solved problems relentlessly, and iterated until his vision became reality. Intention is the spark. Repetition is the fire. Most people confuse a wanting with earning. They believe that desire is effort. They say, I want success. I want to change my life. I want to achieve greatness. And that's good. Desire is necessary. But if your desire doesn't result in repeated action, it becomes nothing more than wishful thinking. You can want to run a marathon, but if you don't train consistently, you won't cross the finish line. You can want a promotion, but if you don't develop skills daily, you'll remain in the same position. You can want a better body, but if you don't exercise and eat right repeatedly, your desire alone won't transform your physique. Repetition is the bridge between wanting and having. Repetition is not glamorous. It's not exciting. It's not sexy. And that's why most people fail to embrace it. Repetition is showing up when nobody is watching. Repetition is doing the small things over and over again that no one notices, but that compound into extraordinary results. Repetition is practicing the same movement until your body and mind make it second nature. Repetition is learning from failure and trying again. Repetition is understanding that mastery is not a destination, but a process built on daily action, discipline, and consistency. Every skill you admire, every success story you envy, every accomplishment that inspires you was built with repetition. You cannot shortcut it. You cannot hack it. You cannot hack it. You cannot imagine it into existence. You cannot post about it on social media and hope the algorithm creates results. Talent can only take you so far, and inspiration can only carry you for so long. The rest is repetition, doing the work again and again until it becomes natural, until it becomes effortless, until it becomes your identity. You see, intention without repetition creates frustration. It creates cycles of hope and disappointment. It creates people who start strong and finish weak. It creates lives full of potential that never materialize. People spend months, even years, setting intentions, planning, thinking, and talking, yet they remain in the same place because they never repeat the actions necessary to transform thought into reality. And the reason they fail is not because they didn't want it enough. It's because they didn't do it enough. Intention fades. Repetition persists. Repetition also builds resilience. Every time you repeat a skill, a habit, or an effort, you're training your mind to overcome resistance. You're teaching your body to endure discomfort. You're conditioning yourself to continue when motivation fades, when fear rises, when distraction calls. Success is never built when life is easy. Success is built when you do the work over and over, even when you don't feel like it, even when it's inconvenient, even when nobody is watching. That is the power of repetition. It transforms intention into action and action into results. Think about it like this. A single workout won't give you the body you want. A single day of study won't make you an expert. A single effort at work won't make you a leader. But consistent workouts, repeated study sessions, repeated problem solving at work, repeated acts of discipline, that's what builds transformation. The magic is not in one big action. The magic is in the accumulation of repeated, focused action. That is why repetition matters more than intention. Repetition turns small efforts into big results over time. Intention alone produces nothing. Repetition also teaches mastery. No one becomes great at anything overnight. Greatness is not a gift you receive. It is a habit you cultivate. The violinist repeats scales thousands of times before performing flawlessly on stage. The writer writes thousands of words before publishing a single masterpiece. The entrepreneur fails repeatedly before finding a formula that works. Repetition trains skill, sharpens precision, strengthens endurance, and builds confidence. Without repetition, your intentions remain abstract, disconnected, and unrealized. With repetition, your intentions take shape and substance. Here's another truth that many people overlook. Repetition builds trust in yourself. When you consistently show up to do the work, you begin to rely on your own commitment. You stop waiting for someone else to push you. You stop hoping for motivation to appear. You stop fearing that you won't be ready. You know you will be ready because repetition has trained you. You know you can handle pressure because repetition has prepared you. You know you can overcome obstacles because repetition has strengthened you. Repetition doesn't just create results, it creates confidence. Repetition also makes success predictable. Life is chaotic, full of uncertainty, and filled with variables you cannot control. But there's one thing you can control: your actions. And when your actions are repeated consistently, you remove randomness from your results. You build momentum. You create reliability. You develop habits that propel you forward even when external circumstances are unpredictable. That is the power of repetition. It doesn't rely on luck. It doesn't rely on perfect condition. It doesn't rely on motivation. It relies on you showing up again and again until progress is inevitable. The danger of relying on intention alone is that it makes you passive. You think, I want this, I intend this, I hope for this. But hope without repetition is empty. Desire without action is futile. Intention without execution leads to disappointment, frustration, and regret. People fill their lives with good intentions and noble dreams, but those dreams remain fantasies because they will never repeat into reality. If you want results, you must move from intention to action, from thought to habit, from desire to discipline, from hope to repetition. Now, repetition is not just about quantity, it's also about quality. It's not enough to go through the motions. You must repeat the right actions with focus, with effort, and with attention to improvement. Mindless repetition can waste time and energy. Purposeful repetition transforms lives. Purposeful repetition hones skills, builds resilience, and guarantees growth. Every repetition should have a goal, a lesson, and intention behind it. That is the difference between mere effort and effective effort. That is the difference between doing something once and mastering it. Repetition also teaches patience. Most people quit because they expect immediate results. They intend to succeed today, but they fail to repeat the work necessary to see results tomorrow. Success doesn't happen all at once. Transformation doesn't occur overnight. It accumulates slowly, invisibly, and steadily through repeated effort. Repetition teaches you to trust the process. It teaches you to value small wins. It teaches you that incremental progress is not failure. It is preparation for exponential success. One of the greatest lessons repetition teaches is accountability to yourself. When you decide to repeat an action daily, weekly, monthly, you are holding yourself accountable. Nobody else is responsible for your results. Nobody else will push you if you stop. Nobody else will correct you if you fail. You must take ownership of your actions and commit to repeating them regardless of circumstances, feelings, or distractions. That's what separates winners from wishers, leaders from followers, and achievers from dreamers. Repetition creates momentum, and momentum makes everything easier. The first few repetitions are the hardest. The beginning is always uncomfortable. But once you establish a rhythm, once you condition yourself to act regularly, it becomes easier to continue. That's why champions look unstoppable. Not because they never struggle, but because repetition has trained them to move forward even when the struggle comes. Momentum compounded through repetition becomes unstoppable force. And that is what creates long-term success. You cannot overstate the power of repetition. It is the engine behind every achievement. It turns ideas into skills, turns effort into mastery. It turns dreams into reality. It turns intention into results, and it is always available to you. It doesn't require perfect timing, favorable circumstances, or magical opportunities. It only requires you to show up consistently, repeatedly, with focus and determination. The final point I need you to understand is this. Repetition is what will carry you when motivation fades, desire fades, inspiration fades. The energy you feel today will not last forever. Circumstances will change, challenges will appear. But if you have repeated your work enough, your habits will carry you, your discipline will carry you, your momentum will carry you. Repetition becomes your insurance policy against failure, your shield against doubt, and your path to greatness. Because life rewards those who do it again and again, not those who only mean to do it. So remember this every day. Your intentions are the start, your repetition is the journey, and your results are the reward. Wanting is not enough. Planning is not enough. Talking about your goals is not enough. You must do, you must repeat, you must persist. You must show up again and again until your intention becomes reality. That is the law of success. That is the truth about achievement. That is why the world honors those who master repetition, because they understand that only repeated action can turn dreams into tangible results, visions into victories, and ambition into legacy. Every day you show up, you separate yourself from the crowd. And that separation doesn't happen in loud, dramatic moments. It happens quietly, consistently, almost invisibly. Most people think separation requires talent, luck, or some rare opportunity, but the truth is far simpler and far more demanding. Separation comes from showing up when others don't, showing up when it's inconvenient, showing up when it's boring, showing up when you're tired, showing up when nobody is watching and nobody is applauding. Because every day you choose to show up, you are casting a vote for the person you are becoming, and those votes add up until one day the difference between you and everyone else is undeniable. You see, the crowd is not separated by dream. The crowd is separated by discipline. Everybody has dreams. Everybody has goals. Everybody has things they say they want to achieve. But dreams don't create distance, action does. Effort does. Consistency does. The crowd is full of people who want success. The front is filled with people who work for it daily. That's the dividing line. That's the invisible boundary between average and exceptional. And the reason that boundary is so powerful is because most people never cross it. Not because they can't, but because they won't show up often enough to get there. Showing up sounds simple, but it's one of the hardest things in the world to do consistently. It's easy to show up once. It's easy to show up when you feel inspired. It's easy to show up when everything is going your way, but can you show up when motivation disappears? Can you show up when progress feels slow? Can you show up when doubt starts whispering? That's the real test. Because the days you don't feel like showing up are the days that matter most. Those are the days that separate you from the crowd more than any other. Anyone can perform when they feel powerful. Few can perform when they feel weak. The crowd waits for the perfect moment. The separated individual creates momentum from imperfect ones. The crowd waits for clarity. The separated individual acts despite uncertainty. The crowd hesitates. The separated individual moves. And that movement, repeated daily, becomes momentum. Momentum becomes progress. Progress becomes confidence. Confidence becomes identity, and identity becomes destiny. But it all starts with something small, something simple, something easy to overlook: showing up. You don't separate yourself in a single day. You separate yourself daily. Separation is not a performance. It's a pattern. It's built through repetition, through persistence, through commitment to a standard that doesn't change depending on your mood. Because if your effort depends on how you feel, your progress will always be inconsistent. But if your effort depends on your decision, your growth becomes inevitable. That's why showing up is powerful. It removes negotiation. It removes excuses. It removes the question of a should I and replaces it with I do. There will always be people who start strong, people who talk big, people who promise results. But time exposes who truly separates themselves. Time reveals who shows up repeatedly and who only shows up occasionally. Time reveals who is committed and who is interested. Interest shows up when it's convenient. Commitment shows up no matter what. And the world always makes room for the committed because commitment is rare. Consistency is rare. Discipline is rare. And rarity creates value. When you show up daily, something happens internally before it ever happens externally. Your mind changes. Your standards change. Your expectations change. You begin to see yourself differently. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who executes. That shift is powerful because once your identity changes, your behavior follows. You don't have to force yourself as much. You don't have to convince yourself as much. You simply act in alignment with who you believe you are. And when you believe you are someone who shows up no matter what, your actions start proving it automatically. Most people underestimate the power of daily presence. They think missing one day doesn't matter. They think skipping one effort doesn't count. They think delaying once won't hurt. But separation is built in small decisions. Just like distance between two lines increases gradually, the distance between you and the crowd grows day by day. One extra hour of effort, one extra repetition, one extra attempt, one extra push when others stop. Those small extras don't seem dramatic in the moment, but over time they create a gap so wide that people start calling you exceptional, talented, or gifted. They don't see the truth. The truth is you just showed up more often than they did. Showing up also builds resilience. Every day you show up, you prove to yourself that you can. You strengthen your mental endurance. You expand your limits. You teach your mind that quitting is not your default option. And resilience is what keeps you moving when life gets difficult, when obstacles appear, when pressure increases. Because pressure doesn't break people who show up consistently. Pressure reveals their strength. The more you show up, the more pressure you can handle. The more pressure you can handle, the further you can go. And the further you go, the more separated you become. Another truth most people don't realize is that showing up compounds. Effort stacks. Progress multiplies. Growth accelerates. First days feel small. The early results feel minimal. But consistency is like interest in an account. At first, the growth seems slow. Then suddenly it becomes powerful. And when that moment comes, people will think you changed overnight. They'll think you suddenly improved. They'll think something magical happened. But you'll know the truth. Nothing magical happened. You just showed up long enough for the results to catch up. There will be days when showing up feels pointless. Days when it feels like nothing is changing. Days when it feels like your effort is invisible. Those are the days most people quit. But those are also the days that matter most. Because when you show up on days that feel pointless, you prove that your commitment is real. You prove that your discipline is stronger than your doubt. You prove that your vision is stronger than your feeling. And that proof builds unshakable confidence. The crowd is not your competition. The crowd is your contrast. They show you what happens when people don't show up. They show you what happens when effort is inconsistent. They show you what happens when excuses win. And every time you show up while others don't, you widen the distance. You strengthen your advantage. You reinforce your identity as someone who does what most people refuse to do. It's important to understand that showing up doesn't always mean performing perfectly. Some days you'll show up and struggle. Some days you'll show up and feel slow. Some days you'll show up and feel unsure. That's okay. Showing up is not about perfection. It's about presence. It's about consistency. It's about refusing to disappear on your own goals. Because progress doesn't require perfection. It requires participation. And participation repeated daily creates mastery over time. You are not separated from the crowd by one decision. You are separated by thousands of decisions made daily. Decisions to try again, decisions to push again. Decisions to push again. Decisions to focus again. Decisions to continue again. Those decisions shape your path, your character, and your future. They build habits. Habits build identity, builds destiny. And destiny is never an accident. Never an accident. It is always constructed piece by piece through daily action. Imagine two people starting in the same place with the same ability. One shows up consistently. The other shows up occasionally. At first, they look the same. After a week, still similar. After a month, slightly different. After a year, completely separated. Not because one was more talented, not because one had more opportunity, but because one showed up more often. Consistency created distance. Discipline created separation. Persistence created transformation. That's why showing up is powerful. It doesn't just change your results. It changes your trajectory. It changes your direction. It changes your life. Every day you show up, you step further into your potential and further away from mediocrity. Every day you show up, you build proof that you are serious. Every day you show up, you invest in a future that most people only talk about. One day people will notice. One day they'll see the difference. One day they'll ask how you did it, how you grew, how you improved, how you succeeded. And they'll expect some complicated answer, some secret strategy, some hidden advantage. But the real answer will be simple. You showed up again and again. When it was hard, when it was boring, when it was inconvenient, when it was lonely. You showed up, and that is how separation is created. Not in giant leaps, but in daily steps. Not in loud declarations, but in quiet dedication. Not in rare moments, but in repeated effort. Every day you show up, you step further ahead. Every day you show up, you widen the gap. Every day you show up, you become someone the crowd can't catch. Because the crowd waits, the crowd hesitates, the crowd stops. Well, you keep going, and that's why day by day, effort by effort, step by step, you separate yourself from the crowd. Consistency beats intensity when intensity is temporary. And that truth alone has the power to change the entire direction of your life if you truly understand it. Not just here, because most people fall in love with intensity. They love the rush, the excitement, the emotional high of starting something new. They love the dramatic declaration, the bold promise, the sudden burst of effort that makes them feel unstoppable for a moment. Intensity feels powerful. It feels like progress. It feels like transformation. But intensity, when it's temporary, is a spark without fuel. It flashes bright, it catches attention, it creates noise, and then it disappears. And when it disappears, so does the progress you thought you were making. Consistency, on the other hand, is quieter. It doesn't shout. It doesn't try to impress. It doesn't rush to prove anything. It simply shows up again and again, whether anyone notices or not. And because it shows up repeatedly, it builds something intensity never can. Permanence. Intensity can start a journey, but only consistency can finish it. Intensity can inspire action, but only consistency can sustain results. Intensity can make you feel strong, but only consistency can make you become strong. The reason most people struggle to succeed is not because they lack ability. It's because they rely on intensity instead of building consistency. They wait to feel motivated before they act. They wait to feel energized before they work. They wait for the perfect move before they start. And when that feeling fades, their effort fades with it. They confuse emotional spikes with commitment. They mistake excitement for discipline. They think because they started strong, they'll finish strong. But starting strong means nothing if you don't continue steady. Think about anything meaningful you've ever wanted. Strength, knowledge, skill, success, growth. None of those things are built in bursts. They are built in layers, layer upon layer of repeated effort. A single intense workout won't transform your body. A single intense study session won't make you a master. A single intense day of effort won't build a successful life. Transformation isn't creating dramatic moments. It's creating daily ones. The quiet repetitions, the steady habits, the disciplined routines that don't feel exciting, but make all the difference. Intensity is emotional. Consistency is intentional. And emotion is unreliable. It changes with your mood, your environment, your circumstances. Some days you feel drained, stoppable. Some days you feel drained. Some days you feel inspired. Some days you feel doubtful. If your effort depends on how you feel, your progress will always be unstable. But when your effort depends on your decision, your progress becomes dependable. Consistency is a decision repeated daily, regardless of emotion. It's a promise you keep to yourself, whether you feel like keeping it or not. There will always be people who start with more intensity than you. They'll start faster, louder, stronger. They'll announce their goals boldly. They'll move quickly. They'll look impressive in the beginning. But watch what happens over time. Many of them will slow down. Many of them will stop. Many of them will disappear. Not because they lack talent, but because they lack consistency. Meanwhile, the person who moves steadily, quietly, persistently will keep advancing, step by step, day by day. And eventually that steady person passes everyone who sprinted at the start and burned out along the way. Life is not a sprint. It is a test of endurance, and endurance is not built through intensity. It's built through consistency. It's built through showing up on ordinary days, through working when it's routine, through pushing when it's repetitive, through continuing when it's boring. Because success is not hidden inside excitement, it's hidden inside repetition, the ability to do something again and again and again until it becomes part of who you are. Intensity loves beginnings. Consistency masters middles, and the middle is where most dreams die. The beginning is exciting, the finish line is rewarding, but the middle is quiet, long, and demanding. The middle is where results are slow. The middle is where effort feels unnoticed. The middle is where doubt whispers. And if you don't have consistency, you won't survive the middle. You'll stop before the breakthrough. You'll quit before the reward. You'll walk away before the transformation. Consistency is powerful because it compounds. Small actions repeated daily grow into massive results over time. One page a day becomes a book. One workout a day becomes strength. One improvement a day becomes mastery. The individual action may seem small, almost insignificant, but when repeated, it becomes unstoppable. That's the secret most people overlook. They underestimate small efforts because they don't see immediate results. They think if it's not dramatic, it's not effective. But the most powerful forces in life are gradual. Growth is gradual. Strength is gradual. Skill is gradual. Skill is gradual. And consistency is the engine that drives all of it. Temporary intensity often comes from emotion, and emotion fades. But consistency comes from identity. When you decide who you are, your actions align with that decision. If you decide you're someone who shows up no matter what, you stop negotiating with excuses. You stop asking whether you feel like it. You simply act. And that shift is life-changing. Because once your identity is built around consistency, effort becomes automatic, discipline becomes natural, progress becomes inevitable. There will be days when intensity visits you, days when you feel powerful, focused, unstoppable. Those days are gifts. Use them. Push hard on them, but never depend on them, because they won't come every day. And if you only act when intensity shows up, you'll only progress occasionally. Consistency means you act whether intensity is present or not. It means you move forward even on low energy days, especially on low energy days, because those days are what build real strength. Anyone can work hard once. You can work steadily forever. Anyone can be intense temporarily. You can be consistent permanently. And permanence is what creates greatness. The world doesn't reward people for what they do once. It rewards people for what they do repeatedly. It doesn't reward effort. It rewards sustained effort. It doesn't reward bursts. It rewards patterns. Imagine two people. One works intensely for 3 days and stops for 4. The other works steadily for all 7. At first, the intense person looks impressive. But after weeks, months, years, the steady person is miles ahead. Not because they worked harder in a single moment, but because they worked more consistently across time. Time multiplies consistency. Time exposes inconsistency. And time always reveals who truly committed. Consistency also builds trust in yourself. Every day you follow through, you prove to yourself that you're what matters, that you can rely on your own discipline, that you don't just talk, you act. That self-trust becomes confidence, and confidence becomes power. Because when you trust yourself, you stop doubting whether you can handle challenges. You know you can, because you've proven it repeatedly through consistent action. Intensity seeks results. Consistency builds systems, and systems are what create lasting success. Results can disappear. Systems keep producing. If you chase results with intensity, you might achieve something once. But if you build systems with consistency, you can achieve it again and again. Systems make success repeatable. Systems make growth sustainable. Systems make excellence normal. The truth is, consistency is not glamorous. It's not exciting. It's not dramatic. It doesn't attract attention. But it builds everything that intensity alone cannot. It builds discipline. It builds resilience. It builds mastery. It builds character. And character is what determines how far you go when things get hard. Because things will get hard. Obstacles will appear. Motivation will drop. And in those moments, intensity won't save you. Consistency will. Consistency will. When you commit to consistency, you stop chasing motivation and start creating momentum. And momentum is powerful. Momentum carries you forward even when you feel tired. Momentum keeps you moving even when doubt appears. Momentum makes progress easier because you're not starting from zero every time. You're continuing from where you left off. And that continuity is what builds unstoppable growth. One day people will look at you and think you're naturally talented, naturally disciplined, naturally strong. They'll think you have something special. They don't, but they won't see the truth. They won't see the quiet days you showed up. They won't see the boring repetitions you completed. They won't see the steady effort you maintain when no one's watching. They'll see the result. You'll remember the consistency. So don't chase intensity. Don't depend on bursts of motivation. Don't wait for emotional highs to begin. Build consistency. Protect it. Strengthen it. Repeat it. Because consistency is the force that turns small actions into big outcomes, short efforts into long achievements, and ordinary people into extraordinary examples. Intensity may impress for a moment, but consistency transforms for a lifetime. Ordinary days determine extraordinary lives. Let that sink in. Most people are waiting for a big moment, a breakthrough, a miracle, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that will suddenly change everything. But greatness is not born in big moments. Greatness is built in small, quiet, invisible moments that nobody applauds. It's built when you wake up early and nobody is watching. It's built when you keep going even though you're tired, discouraged, and doubting yourself. It's built when you choose discipline over distraction, purpose over pleasure, and growth over comfort. The truth is, your future is not decided on your best day. It's decided on your most ordinary one, because ordinary days are the majority of your life. And if you waste them, you waste your potential. But if you master them, you master your destiny. You don't need a perfect day to move forward. You need a committed mindset. Too many people think success requires motivation, excitement, or inspiration. But the reality is, most days you won't feel motivated. Most days will feel routine, repetitive, and even boring. And that's exactly where champions are made. Because champions understand that consistency beats intensity. Anyone can work hard for one day when they feel inspired. Anyone can grind for 1 week when they feel emotional. But it takes a different level of mindset to show up every single day with the same hunger, the same focus, and the same determination, even when nothing exciting is happening. Extraordinary lives are not built on emotional bursts. They are built on disciplined habits repeated daily. The ordinary day is where your character is tested. Not when the spotlight is on you, not when the crowd is cheering, but when nobody knows what you're doing. That's the real test. Because character is not what you do when people are watching. It's what you do when they're not. On an ordinary day, you choose whether you'll keep your promise to yourself or break it. You choose whether you'll work on your dream or procrastinate. You choose whether you'll push forward or make excuses. And those small choices might seem insignificant in the moment, but over time they compound. One disciplined day turns into a disciplined week. One focused week turns into a productive month. One productive month turns into a transformative year. And suddenly, what looked ordinary becomes extraordinary. Most people underestimate the power of small actions because they want immediate results. They plant a seed and expect a tree the next morning. But life doesn't work like that. Growth is slow. Progress is quiet. Improvement is often invisible. That's why ordinary days feel so unimportant. You don't see dramatic change in 24 hours. You don't see massive success in one routine effort. But what you don't see is what's happening beneath the surface. Every time you practice, you're strengthening your skill. Every time you study, you're sharpening your mind. Every time you stay disciplined, you're building mental toughness. And those invisible upgrades are preparing you for visible success. The world celebrates the moment of victory, but it ignores the thousands of ordinary days that created it. You have to fall in love with the process, not just the result. Because results are rare, but the process is daily. If you only feel happy when something big happens, you'll spend most of your life frustrated. But if you learn to appreciate the grind, you'll feel fulfilled every single day. The ordinary day becomes exciting when you realize it's shaping your future. The routine becomes meaningful when you understand it's building your foundation. The repetition becomes powerful when you see it strengthening your discipline. Extraordinary people don't wait for exciting days. They make ordinary days exciting by attacking them with purpose. The difference between average and exceptional is rarely talent. It's usually consistency. Talent might give you a head start, but consistency determines how far you go. There are people with incredible natural ability who never reach their potential because they lack daily discipline. And there are people with average ability who achieve greatness because they refuse to waste a single day. They show up when it's hard. They show up when it's boring. They show up when they don't feel like it. And that simple act of showing up separates them from everyone else. Because success isn't about what you do occasionally. It's about what you do repeatedly. Think about this. If you improve just 1% every day, your life will look completely different in a year. 1% more focused, 1% more disciplined, 1% more confident, 1% more skilled. That sounds small, almost insignificant, but small improvements repeated daily create massive transformation. The problem is most people ignore the 1% because they think it doesn't matter. They wait for a 100% breakthrough moment instead of stacking 1% gains. But those who understand the power of ordinary days know that 1% is not small. 1% is the path to everything. Ordinary days are also where resilience is built. Not on the easy days when everything goes right, but on the tough days when everything goes wrong. The days when you're tired, the days when you're discouraged, the days when nothing seems to be working, those are the days that shape you the most. Because pushing forward on a hard day strengthens you more than coasting on an easy one. Anyone can stay positive when life is smooth, but it takes real strength to stay committed when life is difficult. And that strength is what turns ordinary people into extraordinary examples. Stop waiting for the perfect time to start. There's no perfect time. There's only today. And today might look ordinary. Today might feel average. Today might seem unremarkable. But today is powerful if you use it right, because today is a building block. Today is a brick in the foundation of your future. And if you lay enough strong bricks, you'll build something unshakable. But if you neglect your bricks, your foundation will be weak. The life you dream about is not built in the future, it's built in the present. It's built with what you do today, not what you plan to do tomorrow. You must treat ordinary days like opportunity, not obstacles. Instead of saying, it's just another day, say, this is another chance. Another chance to grow, another chance to grow, another chance to improve, another chance to get closer to your goals. Because every day you wake up is a gift most people take for granted. Every day you have energy, time, and ability is a chance to move forward. And the people who succeed are the ones who respect that chance. They don't waste it. They don't complain about it. They maximize it. They squeeze every drop of progress out of it. They make it count. Your habits are writing your story, not your intentions, not your dreams, not your words. Your habits, what you do daily is what you become permanently. If you practice discipline daily, you become disciplined. If you practice excuses daily, you become average. If you practice effort daily, you become unstoppable. So the question isn't whether you want an extraordinary life. Most people want that. The real question is whether you're willing to win your ordinary days, because that's the price, that's the requirement, that's the path. So when you wake up tomorrow and it feels like just another regular day, remember this. This is where your future is being decided. Not in some distant moment, not in some dramatic opportunity. Right here, right now, in this ordinary day. The way you think today matters. The way you act today matters. The way you use your time today matters. Because extraordinary lives are nothing more than a collection of well-used ordinary days. And if you commit to mastering your ordinary days one by one, step by step, choice by choice, you won't just hope for an extraordinary life. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. And that choice is the dividing line between the life you imagine and the life you actually live. Every single day, whether you realize it or not, you stand at a crossroads between two voices. One voice whispers about comfort, ease, and immediate pleasure. The other speaks quietly about purpose, growth, and long-term reward. The first voice is loud, emotional, and urgent. The second voice is calm, steady, and patient. And the direction your life takes depends entirely on which voice you obey more often. Most people don't fail because they don't have dreams. They fail because they keep choosing what they want now over what they want most. They want success, but they also want comfort. They want achievement, but they also want ease. They want greatness, but they also want convenience. And when those desires clash, they choose the easier option. They choose rest instead of effort, distraction instead of focus, excuses instead of execution. In the moment, it feels harmless. It feels small. It feels like it doesn't matter. But those small choices are not small at all. They are votes. Votes for the person you are becoming. Votes that slowly shape your habits, your mindset, your standards, and ultimately your destiny. Discipline is not punishment, it's alignment. It is the ability to align your daily actions with your highest priorities instead of your lowest impulse. It's the strength to say no to something good so you can say yes to something great. It's the decision to sacrifice temporary pleasure for permanent progress. And the truth is, everyone admires discipline, but very few people want to practice it. Because discipline demands something most people are unwilling to give: consistency in the face of discomfort. The moment you decide to pursue something meaningful, you will feel resistance, not once, not twice, but daily. Resistance is not a sign you're on the wrong path. It's proof you're on a path that matters. Anything valuable requires effort. Anything meaningful requires sacrifice. Anything life-changing requires discipline. And that's where the real test begins. Because it's easy to choose what you want most when you feel motivated. It's easy when you're inspired. It's easy when energy is high and confidence strong. But what about when you're tired? What about when you're tired? What about when you're discouraged? What about when progress is slow and nobody is noticing? That's when discipline matters most. Because discipline is not built in easy moments. It's built in hard ones. Choosing what you want most over what you want now means understanding that feelings are temporary, but results are lasting. Feelings change with the hour. They rise and fall like waves. But the outcomes of your actions stay. The work you complete stays. The skills you build stay. The growth you earn stays. And every time you choose discipline, you will invest in the future that will thank you. Every time you choose comfort instead, you are borrowing satisfaction from a future that will eventually demand repayment and regret. There's a version of you that already exists in possibility, stronger, wiser, sharper, more focused, more confident. That version of you is not created overnight. It is built decision by decision, choice by choice, moment by moment. Each time you choose what you want, most over what you want now, you move one step closer to that version. Each time you choose what you want now over what you want most, you step away from it. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you could be. Without it, the bridge collapses. With it, the path becomes clear. The world is full of people who know what they want most. They want success, they want growth, they want peace, they want strength. But knowledge is not enough. Desire is not enough. Even intention is not enough. The difference between those who dream and those who achieve is discipline, because discipline turns desire into action. It turns intention into execution. It turns goals into reality. Without discipline, dreams remain ideas. With discipline, ideas become outcomes. One of the greatest lies people believe is that discipline is restrictive. They think it limits freedom. But the truth is the opposite. Discipline creates freedom. It frees you from procrastination. It frees you from regret. It frees you from dependence on motivation. It frees you from the cycle of starting and stopping. When you are disciplined, you don't have to rely on how you feel. You rely on what you decided. And that reliability gives you power. It gives you stability. It gives you control over your direction instead of letting your impulses control it for you. Choosing what you want most over what you want now also requires clarity. You cannot be disciplined if you don't know what matters most to you. If your vision is blurry, your decisions will be weak. But when your vision is clear, your choices become easier because every option can be measured against your purpose. Every action can be evaluated against your goal. And when something doesn't align, you have the strength to walk away from it, not because it's bad, but because it's not what you want most. There will be moments when discipline feels lonely, moments when others are relaxing while you're working, moments when others are celebrating while you're preparing, moments when others are quitting while you're continuing. In those moments, it may feel like you're missing out, but what you're really doing is separating yourself. Because while they are choosing what they want now, you are choosing what you want most. And that difference may seem small today, but over time it creates a gap so wide that it changes your entire life. Discipline also builds self-respect. Every time you follow through on what you said you would do, you strengthen your trust in yourself. You prove that your word matters. You prove that you are reliable, not just to others, but to yourself. That self-trust is powerful. It removes doubt. It reduces fear. It increases confidence. Because you know from experience that you can depend on your own commitment. And when you can depend on yourself, you become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. It's important to understand that discipline is not about perfection. You will have days when you struggle, days when you fall short, days when you feel off. Discipline does not mean never slipping. It means never staying down. It means returning to your standard quickly. It means correcting your course instead of abandoning it. Discipline is not fragile. It is resilient. It adapts. It recovers. It continues. And that persistence is what makes it powerful. Every great achievement you admire is built on thousands of disciplined decisions no one ever saw. The applause you hear is for a moment, but the discipline behind that moment lasts years. The recognition you see is public, but the discipline that created it was private. Behind every success story is a history of choosing what mattered most over what felt good in the moment. Behind every extraordinary result is a pattern of ordinary but disciplined actions repeated daily. The choice between what you want now and what you want most will never disappear. It will show up tomorrow. It will show up next week. It will show up next year. It will show up for the rest of your life. Each time it appears, it will ask you the same question. Will you choose comfort or growth? Ease or progress? Pleasure or purpose? Your answer will not be spoken. It will be demonstrated through your actions, because discipline is not what you say, it's what you do. When you train yourself to consistently choose what you want most, something extraordinary begins to happen. Your standards rise, your tolerance for excuses drops, your focus sharpens, your confidence strengthens, and slowly, almost quietly, you transform. Not because of one big decision, but because of many small ones made correctly. Discipline is not a single act. It is a lifestyle. It is a mindset. It is a commitment renewed daily. One day, if you continue choosing what you want most, you will wake up living a life that once felt distant. And people will ask how you did it. They will expect you to name a secret, a shortcut, or a special opportunity. But the real answer will be simple. You chose differently. When comfort called, you chose purpose. When distraction tempted, you chose focus. When quitting whispered, you chose persistence. Again and again and again and again. And those choices build a life that temporary pleasure never could. So when you face your next decision, pause and ask yourself one question. Does this serve what I want now or what I want most? That question has the power to redirect your actions, reshape your habits, and redefine your future. Because the truth is simple but powerful. What you want now can fade in minutes, but what you want most can shape your entire life. And every time you choose it, you prove that you are not controlled by impulse, not ruled by comfort, and not limited by convenience. You are guided by purpose. You are strengthened by discipline. And you are becoming someone capable of achieving what most people only wish for. So as you stand at the edge of your goals, your dreams, and the life you keep imagining for yourself, I need you to understand something with absolute clarity. Nothing magical is coming to save you. No perfect moment is arriving. No special day is scheduled where the universe suddenly hands you greatness. What's coming is another ordinary day, and another, and another. The question is not whether those days will arrive. The question is who you will be when they do. Will you be the person who wastes them or the person who transforms them into stepping stones towards something powerful? Because in the end, life doesn't reward intentions. Life rewards execution. It doesn't celebrate what you meant to do. It responds to what you actually did. And that's why ordinary days matter so much. They are your training ground. They are your proving ground. They are your testing ground. Every sunrise is life asking you one simple question. Are you serious this time? Not yesterday, not tomorrow, today. Are you serious enough to stay disciplined when it's inconvenient? Are you serious enough to stay focused when distractions call your name? Are you serious enough to keep moving when progress feels slow? Because seriousness is not proven by excitement. It is proven by consistency. You see, extraordinary people are not extraordinary because they have superpower. They're extraordinary because they respect time differently. They understand that time is not just passing, it's building. Every hour is either constructing your future or quietly tearing it down. There is no neutral. There is no pause button. Even when you think nothing is happening, something is happening. Habits are forming, mindsets are shaping, standards are being set. And those invisible shifts determine visible results. That's why the ordinary day is never really ordinary to workshop. It's a laboratory. It's a battlefield. And what you do in it decides what your life will look like later. Don't underestimate the days that feel small. Small days are the architects of big lives. The world might not applaud you for waking up early. Nobody may congratulate you for staying disciplined. No crowd will cheer because you kept your promise to yourself. But understand this, you're not doing it for applause. You're doing it for alignment. Alignment between who you say you want to be and what you actually do. Because confidence doesn't come from hype. Confidence comes from evidence. It comes from stacking proof day after day that you are who you claim to be. And the more proof you stack, the stronger you become mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. There will be days when you feel unstoppable. Days when energy is high, motivation is strong, and everything flows. Enjoy those days. Use them. Maximize them, but don't depend on a man because they won't come every day. Some days will feel heavy. Some days will test your patience. Some days will make you question yourself. And those days are not signs to quit. They are invitations to grow. They are the days that build endurance. They are the days that strengthen discipline. They are the days that separate interest from commitment. Anyone can chase a dream when it feels good, but only the committed chase it when it feels hard. If you truly want an extraordinary life, you must develop an extraordinary relationship with ordinary moments. You must learn to see opportunity where others see routine. You must learn to see potential where others see repetition. You must learn to see purpose where others see boredom. Because the secret is this: the routine is the path, the repetition is the strategy, the ordinary is the doorway. What most people call boring is actually the formula. What most people avoid is actually the requirement. And what most people overlook is actually the key. Stop searching for shortcuts and start mastering standards. Shortcuts might get you quick results, but standards get you lasting ones. Standards are what you do when you're tired. Standards are what you do when you're emotional. Standards are what you do when nobody is checking. And when your standards are strong, your results become predictable. Not because life is easy, but because you are prepared. Preparation is the shield that protects your dream from doubt, distraction, and delay. And preparation is built one ordinary day at a time. Imagine what your life could look like if you treated each day like it mattered. Imagine the confidence you would carry if you knew you gave your best effort consistently. Imagine the growth you would see if you refused to waste your time. Imagine the strength you would build if you chose discipline over comfort again and again and again and again. That version of you is not a fantasy. That version of you is a decision made daily. Not once, not occasionally, but repeatedly. Because transformation is never a single moment, it's a pattern. So from this moment forward, don't wait for inspiration. Become dependable. Don't wait for motivation, become disciplined. Don't wait for the perfect opportunity, become prepared. Let other people chase excitement while you chase progress. Let other people talk about dreams while you work on them. Let other people hope while you execute. Because when months pass and years pass, the difference will be obvious. They will wonder how you did it. They will call you lucky. They will say you're gifted. But you'll know the truth. You'll know it wasn't luck. It was the ordinary days you refused to waste. One day, the results will show. One day, the growth will be visible. One day, the doors will open. And when that day comes, people will see the victory, but they won't see the process. They'll see the success, but they won't see the sacrifices. They'll see the outcome, but they won't see the ordinary days that built it. But you will. And that's what will make it meaningful, because you'll know every step, every effort, every disciplined decision played a role. Nothing was random. Nothing was accidental. Everything was earned. So walk into each morning like it matters, because it does. Treat each hour like it counts, because it does. Use each opportunity like it's valuable, because it is. And when doubt whispers that today doesn't make a difference, answer it with action. When excuses try to convince you to slow down, answer them with discipline. When fear tells you to wait, answer it with courage. Let your response to every ordinary day be the same. Make it count. At the end of your life, you won't be judged by your intentions, your plans, or your excuses. You'll be defined by your actions, your habits, and your consistency. And the beautiful thing is that definition is being written right now. Not someday, not eventually, but today, this very day. So stand tall, stay focused, and remember this truth that can change everything if you truly live it. Extraordinary lives are simply the result of ordinary days used extraordinarily well.